Hi, this is Bits and Pieces, the official podcast of Component Supply. I'm Kristen, and today I have with us our guest, Scott Yoder from Surface Solutions Group. Thank you, Scott, for being here.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So today, for those of you who don't know, Surface Solutions Group is a premier coating supplier. We do a ton of work with Surface Solutions Group. They put out great products. So today, we want to inform you about Surface Solutions Group and who they are. We want to talk about the various coatings that are offered and some tips maybe for engineers who are evaluating different coatings for various needs. So Scott, I'd love to start today with just kind of your history, how you got involved in the industry, how long you've been with Surface Solutions Group. If you can just give us an overview.
Sure, absolutely. So I've been with Surface Solutions Group for 10 years. I was in the medical profession, and I got into this due to injury within the medical profession. Our CFO invited me to come work with the company as we were starting out originally as Orion Industries. Then we created Surface Solutions Group, which is the medical side of it. And with my medical background, he thought I'd be a great fit for working with Surface Solutions Group.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've been a huge resource for component supply to understand coatings better and to help our customers get exactly what they need. When you're working on the medical side, what are you might not always have access to the end use, but where are you seeing your coatings used in the medical device industry?
We see so many devices. We coat coils, guide wires, mandrels. We coat needles, catheters. Just a wide variety of parts that we're seeing.
Yeah. So when an engineer is starting to design a medical device that falls into any one of those categories that you mentioned, what are some of what do they need to know? What problems are they trying to solve when they're looking for a coater?
So they are looking to solve specific problems, and oftentimes we'll get a request for, hey, I need a PTFE. And it may not necessarily be that it's a PTFE that they need. It might be something a little bit different, something similar. And so we go through a process of drawing out, asking the questions, what is the use, what's it exposed to, so we can get a better idea and understanding of what actually they are looking for.
Right. So you kind of question, and we see this too. They've asked for this thing, but sometimes they don't really know what they need. They just know that this is a popular coating. This is something that's spec'd out. So you're able to, deep dive into the application and figure out if there's a more suitable application or more suitable coating for their application.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a solutioneering form is what we call it, which is basically an engineering form, and it goes through a series of questions so we can really drive and dig down deep to see what it is that coating needs to do, what its function is going to be.
Do they ever have to kind of use two or actually see it in play in the application to determine which one they really need? Are there close calls between two coatings ever that they have to on their own test?
Yeah, what we know is that no PTFE or Lubricious type coating is created equal.
Sure.
And so we try and give them options because we might have an idea of what's going to work best.
Yeah.
But there are times when you realize with that second option that you thought might not have been best, actually works better in their application.
Yeah, we love to be part of the conversation of they didn't know what they needed, and that's part of the joy of being a supplier and a manufacturer is that you get to really be problem solvers for them and give them options they didn't know they had, give them tolerances they didn't know they could live with. Sometimes that's part of it too. So do you know off the top how many coatings Surface Solutions offers?
I'd like to say in the hundreds because I have a kind of a sheet that we use here.
Oh, wow, yeah.
For Surface Solutions Group, we're probably 20 to 30 coatings, I think would be a good
for the
range.
medical
for the
side.
medical side of it. Yeah.
Out of those 30, are there buckets that if they have this kind of application, this is a preferred coating, or is it really every case-by-case basis?
Yeah, it's kind of a case by case, but when you do look at it, depending on what the function of the coating is, you can put them into different buckets where maybe you need lubricity where it needs to glide.
Okay.
Maybe it's more of a release, with a catheter where you need to get material off of that without sticking.
Sure.
Corrosion and chemical resistance. And then we're finding new areas where they're looking for PTFE-free or PFAS-free options. And so that's a whole nother bucket that we have options for and creating new options. So there's buckets that are there and we try and get those parts into those buckets.
What about temperature? I know sometimes we've asked you, we have a customer that they want to use this PTFE coating, but they have these temperature ranges that are maybe outside of the scope of what that would do. Is that variant across all coatings, different coatings for different temperature exposures?
Sure. The coatings do have different cure temperatures, and just in general, your pure PTFEs, those are going to cure at a higher temperature.
Okay.
And if you have material, say nitinol, which can't handle those higher temperatures, it's going to change the A sub F, then you have to go with a lower cure option. And so we take a look at that. What can the part handle? And then if it can handle more, that opens up the options of coatings.
Yeah. And you have a little bit of customization within each of these coatings. So like color, for example, depending on the application, they might prefer a different color either for visibility or what might be some other considerations for color that they've had.
Yeah, so we do have color options, and there are your standard colors that come with the coatings. One thing that I think engineers need to understand is that we can't color match. These types of coatings are not like paint where you can just pick a number and color match it. We can try and get close. But color matching is just not an option. So there's some standard colors and then some custom colors that we can do.
Yeah. So for our offering with Surface Solutions Group, our base customers are looking typically at the PTFE. It's a FluoroMed. FluoroMed is the coating that we use. And then we also have your GlideMed products. And so for those two in particular, because those are the ones that we're the most familiar with, can you explain some of the differences between those two materials?
Sure.
Obviously, there's the PFAS conversation that's happening.
Yeah. So our FluoroMed line is higher percentage PTFE coatings. That's and we have what we will sometimes refer to as a pure PTFE. Once you've applied that and provided a thermal cure, all that's left basically is PTFE on there. There are some resin bonded type PTFEs where the PTFE is within a binder, and so you might have 60-65% PTFE, maybe 70-75%. It's a little stronger, a little more durable for that PTFE and perhaps that application that needs a little bit more durability.
Yeah.
Our GlideMed started from a coating that was a low percentage PTFE, and we still offer that, but we now have created our GlideMed no PTFE. We said, hey, what would happen if we took out all of the PTFE in it? And we did, and we found that it's a great coating. It still offers lubricity without the PTFE. Granted, it's not as lubricious as a full PTFE coating, but it meets many standards for lubriciousness within the medical device industry. So it's been a great option for customers.
We've seen that. Our customers have been really happy. And it's one of those things we talk about sometimes in the podcast. You can't have it all. If you're going to increase durability or if you're going to increase compliance, you might have to sacrifice something. So you're sacrificing a little lubricity. Based on the feedback we've gotten from our customers, I don't think they notice very often. They do the lubricity change. They do notice the durability. And even in our shop, they get excited when they see GlideMed across the floor because they're usually, we've sent it out for coating, it's coming back, and we're performing a secondary operation. And it's just a more durable coating for when they're handling it or putting it through the mechanics of what they're trying to accomplish. So we've been, both as a supplier of the GlideMed coating on a Mandrel and as a secondary operations shop, our shop has been really pleased with GlideMed and what it's doing. But I think it's an important conversation, especially with our European customers. That seems to be rapidly approaching all the conversations about compliance with PFAS. So it's you've been ahead of it, it seems like, the whole time, and always kind of had that option in the pocket. So that's been great.
Yeah, we were fortunate to get out ahead of this and one of the first to have PFAS-free options in the industry. And so there has been a lot of excitement with that material, and Europe is, a big market for this type of coating option.
Absolutely. So that's one aspect of coatings, the colors, the compliance. I want to talk about tolerances because, everyone wants it tighter. Everyone wants it smaller. What advice do you have for engineers who are speccing out coating tolerance? We get specced maybe the overall diameter of a mandrel, but you maybe have additional tolerances that you can hold or maybe would rather not hold for a coating spec.
Sure. Obviously, as a coater, we'd like to have as much tolerance as we could. We are able to hold a pretty tight tolerance. We can hold plus or minus 0.2. That is with our automated lines. And so if a tighter tolerance is needed, we have automated lines that we can hold those tighter tolerances. Otherwise, with a hand spray process, it might be 0.3, or maybe a little bit less. But it just depends. If a tighter tolerance is needed, we can hit that with our automated lines.
So if a customer has, a tight tolerance, so we're dealing primarily with wires and mandrels and those different applications, but you have customers sending you other finished parts to coat. Are there any limitations with a more complex part?
Not really. I think we're able to hit those tolerances.
No
whether you're dealing with a catheter or a tapered mandrel or something like that, we can hold it across those parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know it's super precise. You do inspections. What kinds of inspections are you doing, if you can share, to test the coating?
Sure. Yeah. Typically with the coatings, we will test for thickness, make sure within range. We will do a flash cure as it's coming out so we can handle it and test the coating thickness. If it's not within spec, we'll run it through again. If it is in spec, we'll stop there. But we can also test for lubricity. We can test for adhesion. There's a couple of different types. One is a non-destructive. The other one is a destructive, depending on the needs. We can do abrasion testing as well. So if there are requirements that are needed, we can do that type of testing.
What about for applications where it's more of an electrical installation? Do you see that?
Sure, yeah, we actually see that a lot. One of the industry standards has been PTFE. It's a good insulator. We have a PFAS-free option for PTFE in place of PTFE, which is a real good insulator. It's our ElectroBond coating. And we can actually build that up thicker. It has better release, so if you're looking for electrical insulation and you have an electrosurgical device for SR release, this ElectroBond coating, with it being PFAS-free, it has better release, so the operator can keep that blade longer in use without having to swap out, so they save time, they save money in using that. So that's another one of our coatings for electrical insulation that's just working great.
That's great. So when you go to a trade show, Surface Solutions is at MD&M West, MD&M Midwest, Minneapolis. What other shows? Do you attend other shows, or are those the primary two?
Those are the primary two. We have attended Boston.
Okay.
Biomed Device Boston. We've done some other shows as well, but those are our two main shows.
And so you have a table full of samples. What are some of the things people can expect to see when they visit a Surface Solutions?
Sure, yeah. You're going to see a wide variety. We do have coated mandrels and guide wires and coils. You'll see those parts in different coatings, so we'll have them separated out at the table according to the coating that they've been coated with. So you can come in and see, hey, we have a lot of customers or prospects that will come by and say, hey, do you have a PFAS-free option? And we can guide them over here, and they can see all of the parts that we can coat in that material.
Yeah.
Or if they're looking for a high percentage PTFE, same thing. We can take them to that section and show them all the parts that we have.
Yeah, it really is impressive, and because so many of you are working on various projects at any given time, it's a really great thing to see the application of all these different coatings in different ways, and just to continue to educate yourself, even if it's not for a project that you're using now, to learn the scope of what's available, so you kind of have that tucked away for when the scope of your work changes or you're moved to a different project. You have a great resource in Surface Solutions, and just the number of coatings and the knowledge behind how they're applied. And it seems like Surface is constantly developing new coatings and working toward new solutions as needs arise, right?
We are, yeah. We have a great team. We have a chief chemist who's worked in the industry for over 30 years. He's helping us develop more coatings. So, I think we're on the cutting edge of developing coatings and new offerings. We've got one that I don't know how much I can say about it, but we have a new coating that's coming out in the next, probably here in April, we'll start seeing that.
That's exciting.
And that is exciting to have another offering, which is a low cure coating, so it can be used on nitinol. And really looking forward to see how this one goes as well.
Right. I mean, that's so exciting. There are so many different options. I mean, Component Supply is very focused on wires and mandrels, and while we only stock a couple of the Surface Solutions coatings on our mandrels, there's always an opportunity for special order. If something that's on the shelf doesn't meet the need, between Component Supply and Surface Solutions, we can come up with great solutions for whatever problem you're trying to solve with a coating. And I think part of it is just knowing what's all out there. There are so many options, and I think some of the information can get convoluted. It's almost too much, too many choices. So it's nice to have someone that you can use as a resource to unveil the mysteries behind the coatings and what they're used for. What's a reason, just maybe you have a coating that's more misunderstood. What is a coating that you wish people knew more about?
I think one of the coatings that we're still working on getting more exposure is our MetalSlick.
Okay. Yeah, tell me about that. I'm not sure I know.
Yeah, so our MetalSlick, it was originally our FluoroBond N2 and an N2A with a primer, but we rebranded it because it has no fluorine chemistry.
Gotcha.
So it's our MetalSlick N2 and N2A, and this material, again, has no PTFE. It's PFAS-free, and we're seeing what a great coating this is for release.
Okay.
It's a very low cure. We can cure it as low as 250 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And we're seeing that with mandrels, it has equal release as a PTFE. It can be a little bit more durable in situations as well. It's a lot harder coating. It's very thin, and what we with this coating, it goes on at 1 to 3 microns, so super thin, and so you don't have to change the specifications of the part for a coating. You don't have to grind it down in order for that coating, so you can spec out your part, and we coat it 1 to 3 microns.
That's awesome.
And have great release.
And it's a great name.
Yeah.
It's very good. What would be a reason that you see coatings fail? When is there maybe a mismatch between an application and the correct coating?
Yeah, I think coatings will fail first and foremost when you don't understand what the coating is supposed to do.
Okay.
And that's why we really try and get as much information as we can from the user as to what the need is, what the coating is going to be exposed to. You can say, okay, here's a PTFE, but if it can't handle the temperature, or it's going to be exposed to some chemicals or something that it's not really meant for, that will be a failure point. Coatings will fail with sharp edges. Those are going to be light coating regions, and so we have to be careful that we get those sharp edges rounded a little bit. That really helps. The other thing too is surface preparation.
Okay.
One of the problems years ago with delamination issue in the industry was because the PFOAs were removed from the coating, which were a supplement, I guess, to the coatings to help it adhere. And when that was removed, they were getting failures.
Oh, yeah. I remember that well.
Yeah, we were fortunate. Surface Solutions never had a failure in the field.
That's amazing.
Because of our surface preparation. We do a multi-step process in the cleaning. So we like to clean the parts coming in rather than just depending on them being cleaned.
Yeah, cleanliness is a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you get different variations.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, we were fortunate due to our cleaning process that we were able to navigate that whole issue with PFOAs, and we were able to get through that unscathed, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing. I actually think that's what originally started our conversation with Surface Solutions Group, as we were seeing this delamination issue. After not too long of being on the shelf, just seeing it happen, and we've got to do something else. We want to be able to control the coating. We want to work with a true partner on coated mandrels, and that's where Surface Solutions came in and, was our hero essentially, and helped us solve that problem, and relatively quickly for how much we were putting. We wanted to change everything over fast to Surface Solutions Group, and you guys just adapted so quickly to all of our needs. So we talked about the reason they fail, misunderstood coatings or coatings you want. We want you guys to learn more about. Are there any coating myths that you hear, like any common misconceptions?
I guess just that we've kind of touched on this, that there's not one coating that can solve all the problems. And you had mentioned this earlier, if you have 5 or 6 requirements, you better pick 2 or 3.
Right.
Because they're not all created equal.
That's
and so
right.
that's important. We're here to help. We want to collaborate and work with engineers and customers looking to solve that problem. When we always try, if we're in a meeting, a face-to-face meeting, or a call or a Teams meeting, we'll try and get as many people there that can help us. So we'll ask our engineers to be there. We'll ask our chief chemist if there's some specific coating needs. We'll ask our production and quality as well to be on that call, because there's so much that goes into, coating and coating these parts, and we want to make sure that all ideas are heard, and that we have a good team there to help solve those problems that come to us.
Yeah, and it truly is a great team. If you haven't talked with Surface Solutions Group before, just a great team to talk to. They know everything about the applications that you're working with and the coatings that are appropriate. So you can always kind of have them as a resource, check out their different coatings. And I just want to encourage, because you kind of spoke to it earlier and just now, that the earlier you can share your application, even before you're starting to spec it on a drawing, if you're able to go ahead and have these conversations with your suppliers, because we can steer you away from the wrong options. We can give you realistic expectations for tolerances and performance. And if you do it very early on, while you're still kind of before you've locked your drawing, before you've locked your design, we can probably save you from some heartache later. So whether you're working with a finished mandrel as a collaboration between Component Supply and Surface Solutions Group, or you're working with a finished device it's going to go straight to Surface Solutions Group as you're in those early stages of design and development, early conversations, napkin drawings. Go ahead and start having those conversations. The earlier you can bring your suppliers in and give them as much information as possible, the better of a resource they are from R&D and to projects that scale. And Surface Solutions scales, they can do it all. They can help you come up with the solutions that you need to get your device to market. Is there anything else you would like to add? Did we miss anything?
No, I agree. That's so true. We love projects. We love working through that. We've seen, projects go from I don't know what I need and all the way to production, and we know it's a process. We're here to help. We've seen these things go from beginning to 5 years later, finally coming to fruition. And so we're more than happy to help. Feel free to reach out, with those types of questions.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate having you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now let's go change the world.